In today's video, I'm gonna break down the dangers of payday loans and why you should avoid them. If you're new here, my name is Michael, and welcome to the Real Michael Berry channel, where I have a passion for seeing millennials being successful with their money. Consider subscribing to the channel, give it a thumbs up because it helps other people see the video, but let's get into it. So if you don't know what a payday loan is a short-term loan that usually has high interest, and depending on where you go, you can get something simple as $200. It can go as far as $700, $800. And people usually get these loans when something unexpected pops up. Maybe you got a vehicle in the shop. Maybe you don't have an emergency fund or enough saved to take care of an immediate bill that's coming up right now. So what you'll do, you'll head down to the payday event. You'll get a couple $100. Take care of your bill, and you kind of go on from there. The problem with these payday loans is simply that your cost of doing business is extremely high. If you go get $500 out of, from the payday loan spot, your interest can very well be 600, 700%. It is legal by which state you go to. There are caps, but you are legally having to pay back 600 and 700% for a couple $100. On top of that, usually when a person gets a payday loan, it doesn't end in 1 month. It usually rolls over 2, 3, 4 months in a row, and then that's when the business, as far as the cost of doing business, starts to add up. So we're gonna break that down for you in today's video, and on top of that, I want to give you a couple resolutions on what you can do to avoid these payday loans, things that can save you a little bit of money. So stay tuned. That's gonna be at the very end. So the first thing we want to talk about is the access, as far as how easy it is to acquire a payday loan. Most payday loan places you go to, usually if you're over the age of 18, if you have an active checking account, if you can show that you have proof of income, they're going to give you whatever you ask for. Now, with that being said, that is extremely dangerous because say if you show proof of income, you have an emergency come up and you don't have enough money in the savings, you're going to go get a payday loan and you're going to be dealing with the high interest that can come with that. The problem with that is if you have just say a vehicle in the shop, say if you have a light bill, water bill come up and you have to get these bills paid, you're not going to worry about the interest rate. You're not going to worry about what the fees are because you have a pressing matter that you got to take care of. And that begins and that kind of starts the cycle of debt. So for example, say if you had a vehicle in the shop and you needed $500. A typical payday loan can last 2 weeks. It can last a month depending on what you agree upon. But say if you have a $500 payday loan, that's 2-week loan. And to get this loan, you have to pay $70 to get this loan. Once you agree to that, you're already at 600% interest. You haven't even spent any of the money yet, but you're already at 600% because that's just the cost of doing business. Now, say if for someone you got this loan paid for, you paid it off in 2 weeks, paycheck rolled around, you took care of it, everything's all good. If you're short again for your bills coming up next 2 weeks, you're gonna go back down there, you're gonna start the process all over again. And that's where the problem comes in because the next time you roll over that loan, you agree to a new loan, that's an additional $70. So in the first month alone, you've already paid $140 in fees, and you're just trying to take care and catch up on bills. Usually when a person gets a payday loan, it's rarely done in the first month. It usually lasts 3 months. It can usually last 6 months. So say if you did this for 3 months in a row, that's $420 in fees, and you only needed $500 to begin with. You're already at $1,000 that you paid for in debt. So with this here, you have to understand that as far as payday loans, the cycle of debt, building debt, it can add very fast if you're short as far as not having money in the savings, as far as not having money in the emergency fund. And and you start to realize how important it is to put money to the side to start building up your savings. So one thing I want to do is I want to pull up the chart of the US, and you can look at this chart here and kind of figure out where you live. But as you quickly begin to see, you see how dangerous the interest rates are. Now, as you look in here, you see down in the legend at the bottom that some states have protections, some states don't have protections. But like, for example, look at California, 460%. Look at Texas, 664%. And these are legal. So it's not just one side of the U.S. It's not just, 1 or 2 states, but this is across the board of how dangerous and how high the interest can get. And when you compare this over, to a credit card, which on average is between 14 and 30%. When you talk about a home loan, which is usually 1%, I've seen it as low as 1%. I've seen it as high as 6 and 7%, depending on the house. But a vehicle, I've seen 1%, I've seen as high as just say 13, 14%. You see how different the interest rates are as far as a payday loan. Most loans that come through a financial institution are to some degree lower. These are not. These are astronomically higher. So you have to protect yourself as far as what you get yourself into and out to. Be mindful of what you go to get a payday loan for, because it may not be worth it. But in like I said, in case of emergencies, there are some instances where you have to go get it. So take a look at the chart and kind of put it into perspective what you'll be getting into if you do decide to get a payday loan. A payday loan is not a solution for a large financial issue. If you have large financial issues, such as you're trying to do some work on the house, you're looking to buy a vehicle, you're looking to pay off medical bills, you should not be going out and get a medical loan to take care of these issues. The reason why is because if you go buy a vehicle normally, if you buy a vehicle is 5 or 6 years, on the high side, just say you have 12% interest. That is much better than getting a 2-week, 3-week, or 1-month payday loan with 1,000% interest trying to pay off a vehicle. Even if you're trying to do it for a down payment, at that point, for its cost of doing business, it's not worth it. With medical bills, you can work around medical bills. You can talk to them. You can negotiate. You can figure out, what you can pay and pay back as you go. This is not something that you immediately have to take care of. Now, on the other hand, say if you have to pay back, or say if you need to buy groceries, say if you got to pay your utility bills, say if you need to get a vehicle out of the shop, take care of something that you need within a week or two, then that's a different story. That's the only time I would see it being acceptable to go get a payday loan. At the end of the day, they're in business for a reason. If you need quick cash, go get it, but make sure you're getting it for the right reason. Now, going forward, the goal is to get away from payday loans. The goal is to figure out whether I need to save up more money, if I need to get more cash, if I, figuring out something that you have to do to ultimately stop paying these high interest and putting yourself in a better position financially. Now, some people don't even think about the damages that come with a payday loan advance places when it comes to your checking account. When you give out your account number, when you give out your routing number, you give that company authorization to pull money out of your account. Now, with that being said, most people get paid on Fridays. They're trying to collect their money on Fridays so they can get paid first. If the money just not happens to be there, that's an overdraft fee. And I made a video about that last time, talking about overdraft fees and things that you can do to avoid those. But when someone has your account number, it becomes very difficult, especially when they're pulling, they're retrying to collect the money, and they're just adding up fees for you. So be very careful who you pass out your account number to, your routing number to, because at that point, when you give out that information, you cannot claim fraud, because when they do their investigation, they can see that you signed on the dotted line agreeing to this service. They'll see that you gave out your information, and they will deny that investigation. So I never really like talking about an issue without giving a resolution, especially when people are in need as far as going out getting payday loans, which can be very dangerous. So next part, I have 3 quick tips that can kind of steer you on the right path. That's going to help you avoid these payday loans and kind of put you back on your feet. The first one being that borrow money from a trusted family or friend. Typically, and if you're a trustworthy person, typically if you're in need, a family or friend will allow you to borrow money from them. Not all family does, but some will. Now, the benefit of this is that you're avoiding the high interest rate of the 600, 700%. And you can, whatever you guys agree upon, you can pay back in the time frame that you agree upon. This means that you take care of your immediate need, and you can slowly put money back to paying them back. The second one is you need to get a job with an immediate payout. Whether you're doing Uber Eats, Lyft, Shipt, cutting hair, cutting yards. When you get this money in your hand, as far as like quick cash, you can pay back your loans as soon as possible, which is going to get you out of that high interest. But at the same time, if you continue to do it, you can eventually build up a savings and an emergency savings and kind of go from there. The last one is you need to seek out some type of counseling when it comes to either credit counseling or like money counseling. So as far as like putting a budget together, kind of figuring out essentially, what are your habits that are putting you in a spot where you have to keep going back for these payday loans. It can be something simple as you eat out too much, you're not making enough, whatever the case may be, but this is going to help you, put things in line to figure out what you should do to put yourself in a better position. Outside of that, I thank you guys for your support. Thank you guys for watching the video. See you in the next one.